What is the righteous requirements of the law? Paul writes in Romans chapter 2 verse 28 to verse 29 that the true Jew is not one outwardly but one inwardly who fulfills the righteous requirements of the law. Torah observers claim that Paul verifies in this passage that all Christians, whether they are Jews physically or Gentiles who are Jews spiritually, are required to observe the law. In other words, they argue that we are to become like Jews even if we are not born as Jews. However, is this what Paul is teaching in Romans chapter 2 verse 28 to verse 29? In comparison, Paul writes in Galatians 2 verse 21 that he does not set aside the grace of God, for if righteousness come through the law, then Christ died in vain. In context, we read in Galatians chapter 2 verse 14 about Paul rebuking Peter in front of the whole church because Peter was being a hypocrite. Paul said to Peter that if he, being a Jew, lives in the manner of Gentiles and not as Jews, why does he now want to compel Gentiles to live as Jews? It is therefore clear that unlike Peter, Paul did not require Gentiles to live like Jews. Paul further writes in Romans chapter 9 verse 30 to verse 31 that Gentiles who did not pursue righteousness have attained righteousness, even the righteousness of faith, but Israel pursuing the law of righteousness has not attained the law of righteousness. Paul emphasizes in Romans chapter 10 verse 4, "For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone who believes." Finally, in Philippians chapter 3 verse 5 to 9, Paul describes his credentials as an Israelite, stating that concerning the righteousness which is in the law, he was blameless. However, he counts all of that as loss for the sake of Christ. Paul considers his accomplishment regarding the observance of the law as rubbish compared to his surpassing worth of knowing Christ. His goal is to obtain the righteousness that comes not through the works of the law, but through faith in Christ, the righteousness that is from God by faith. In these scriptures, we see that the law points to righteousness, but does not provide it through its practice. Righteousness can only be obtained through faith in Christ Jesus, to whom the law ultimately points. Like and subscribe for more 2-minute biblical rebuttals.